Now, towards
Okay.
the end of the movie, and the character of Neil, you say that everyone knows who Kiss and Donna Summer is, but nobody knows who Neil Bogart is. So, Jeremy, before you got involved in this film, did you know who he was?
No, of course I didn't. No offense, Tim, but no, I didn't know who he was. I'm a music lover as much as anybody else, but I never delved into, who was the big record producer in the 60s and 70s. So yeah, I mean, of course I knew the music, but and the artists, but no, I knew nothing about Neil or Casablanca or any of that. So it was all new and exciting and wild to me when I heard about it.
Okay, great. Now, Tim, you've been trying to make this movie for years now. Now, obviously, your father died when you were very young. So, what is it like to finally be able to sort of get out there and remedy the fact that most people don't know who Neil was and what he did?
It's extraordinary. And it's extraordinary for so many reasons. And certainly as the son who feels like, here's this incredibly consequential character who I do think got lost to history to some degree, even though the music that he created and so much of the business ideas that he created still very much thrive today. So as a son, for sure, but I also just always thought it was an incredibly important story about dreamers and how important it is to persevere. And so getting that story out as well is just as moving for me. And I do think it is a great parallel in the perseverance and the dream I had in making it.
All right. Now, what was it like sort of immersing yourself in the whole 1970s sex, drug, rock and roll music industry?
I'll comment quickly and then have Jeremy comment, but it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and the character says that. But it was the 70s, which meant it was sex before it was deadly. And drugs, kind of everyone were doing them, and it wasn't as dark, and rock and roll for sure. So I never looked at sex, drugs, and rock and roll as a negative, even though so many pieces of the 70s tended to couch it as a negative or a cautionary tale. I saw it as just an extraordinary time coming out of the 60s, this expressive moment in the 70s. So I actually thought it was an extraordinarily cool time. And even though I was really young, I wish I was a little bit older to experience it.
What did they give you when you were, 6?
Let me tell you, there's a lot of contact high growing up. I mean, there's no question.
Yeah, I mean it's totally foreign to me, of course, but and I'm not a big partier or anything like that, but it was really exciting to kind of just sort of dip my toe into that world, and there was always a cigarette or always pot or always a drink. In every scene somebody is just medicating or indulging or anything, and it was just normal back then. And it's kind of wild how quickly and vastly that changes, at least optically. Not saying that people don't still do that, but not at work. You're not supposed to do it at work.
Right. Well, also on the voiceover, you said everything in the movie is true, even the parts that aren't. Just sort of, what experiences do you most hope were true, even if they seem hard to buy?
What do I most hope were true? I mean, I believe that there are kernels of truth in all of them.
Right.
And the one of my favorite things about the film and the way it was all put together is that you're not really sure if you're getting the full story, but that you're having a great time while doing it. And that was kind of Neil's vibe. He just wanted to make you dance and wanted to entertain. He was a showman.
Right.
And that's what we're doing with this movie, is finding the most fun way to tell these stories. And and what's kind of great is that there's always little winks that go throughout the film. He's got this flash paper that it goes off, and to me that's always an indication that maybe what you're seeing is not really
right.
The reality, and then by the end he's kind of he's painting his own, he's writing his own ending, and it's really kind of beautiful and kind of magical and different in that way. And we don't feel tied to, ultra reality and this is the exact perfect way that this happened. And it doesn't have to be, because, it was sex, drugs, rock and roll, and
Right.
it was the journey, as opposed to, the actual truth of it all.
All right. Well, thanks so much for talking with me, guys, and best of luck with the movie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.